Double tape diagrams are used when we model two separate tapes rather than having the tape be one continuous length. They are typically used when we're comparing within a problem. So in this case, we have dogs and cats. And you can use double tape diagrams for work where we end up putting them together. So there are 7 dogs and 5 cats. Whose tape should be longer, the dogs or the cats? The dog's tape should be longer. Let's see, where should I stop to show my cats? They're probably about here. It's a little shorter than the dogs, but not a lot shorter. There are 7 dogs. I can put my 7 right inside. 5 cats, I can put it inside. How many more dogs are there than cats? I'm trying to determine this piece. How much of the dog's tape would be longer than the cat tape? Many times we actually suggest for students to put the total tape length for the longer tape on the outside so that they can represent the 2 parts inside. The one part that is the same as what they're comparing it to, and then the part that is more. Sometimes in class we'll say the more tape, the more part. So in this case, how many more dogs are there than cats? A student can visually see they have a total for the tape and one part. They can see that they will do 7 minus 5 equals 2 to find that there are 2 more dogs than cats. A little harder problem is when we ask how many fewer cats are there than dogs. Fewer is a little bit more challenging for students. They need to recognize that that means less, or the same idea of less. And what we can do is say how many more dogs, that's going to be the same as how many fewer cats. So if I know that there are 2 more dogs, I also know there are 2 fewer cats. Let's try a more challenging problem. There are 4 more cats than dogs. There are 5 dogs. How many cats are there? Students look at this and want to know, do I add? Do I subtract? What do I do? When we draw out our tape diagram, that becomes very apparent. So let's see. I know I'm going to have cats and dogs. Which will I have more of? There are 4 more cats than dogs. Okay, so my cats will be a longer tape than my dogs. And I'm going to know that there'll be one part that's the same between the 2, and then there'll be this part that's more for cats than there are for dogs. Let's see if we can determine what we know. So there are 5 dogs. We know this part, 5. We know there are 4 more cats than dogs, so we know this part that's more. How many cats are there? We're looking for this whole length of tape. So now I can see, well, this is the same. I'm going to add my 5 and 4 together to get our 9 cats. Look at this question. There are 4 more cats than dogs. There are 5 cats. We might look quickly and say, oh, I do the same thing. The answer is 9. Well, let's draw it out and see. I have cats and dogs. Which do we have more of? We have more cats. So, although the 2 tapes could be the same if they had the same amount, they don't have the same amount. There are more cats. So, let's see what we know. There are 5 cats. Oh, I know the total number of cats. There are 4 more cats than dogs. My more section of the tape is going to be 4. So how many dogs are there? Well, now I can look and see. To find this part of the cat tape, I'm going to have to subtract to find this part, so it would be 1. So there is only 1 dog. I would actually subtract, in this case, 5 from 4 to get the answer. And finally, here's one more question for us. There are 4 fewer cats than dogs. There are 5 cats. How many dogs are there? Fewer is a challenging word for many students, but we can set up our problem the same way. What are we comparing? Cats and dogs. So, which has more? Well, first let's make the tapes the same. We know that they'll both have some part that's the same, and we need to determine which will get more. There are 4 fewer cats. So if cats are fewer, then I know the extra piece of tape for more goes on our dog's tape. Now let's see what information we know, what quantities we know. There are 5 cats. I can put that in here. There are 4 fewer cats than dogs. So this section, 4 fewer, means that the dogs have 4 more. How many dogs are there? Okay, we're looking for the total number of dogs. And now I can see that this part of the tape is the same, and I would be adding to determine that there are 9 dogs altogether. Even though the word fewer isn't the problem, once we model all of the parts that we know and determine the unknown part, we see that we'll actually end up adding what we know together to find our unknown.